Please remain standing for the singing of the Philippine National Anthem and for the invocation.
Bayang magiliw, perlas ng silanganan, alab ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay.
Lupang hinihang, duyan ka ng magiting.
Sa manlulupi, di ka pasisingil.
Sa dagat ang tulong, sa simoy at sa langit mong lugaw. May dilag ang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal.
Ang islap ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na nagdidingding.
Ang bituin at araw niya kailan pa may di magdidilim.
Sumalang araw ng walang iwan sila. Tuloy ay langit sa ating piling. Ang ligaya na may marami.
Ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
We acknowledge your holy presence in this place. Thank you for allowing us to gather here today to celebrate the milestones of GOCCs and recognize their unwavering support to our country. Thank you for continuously providing strength to our nation by empowering our GOCCs through increased knowledge, abilities, and wisdom to fulfill your divine plans and purpose. We may not see every sacrifices they have made, but nothing is hidden in your sight unrewarded. As your steward, help us not to get weary in well-doing, for in due season we will reap if we faint not. May this celebration be full of joy in a grateful heart. Whatever achievement, may we acknowledge that everything comes from you alone. We pray that after this, we all could have a better appreciation on how significant the responsibilities you have placed on our shoulders. For us to serve more with love, may your blessing be upon us all.
We may now be seated. Good morning. We are gathered here today for the 2025 Government-Owned or Controlled Corporations or GOCC's Day. To formally begin our program, may we call on Finance Secretary Ralph Recto to deliver his welcome remarks.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin, heads and officers of our GOCCs, fellow workers in government, our friends in the media, magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Ngayong araw, hindi lang po ito basta-basta roll call ng ating mga GOCC sa entablado. Ito po ay pagbibigay pugay sa bawat isa sa inyo dahil sa inyong mahalagang ambag sa bayan. Dahil ang bawat piso na inyong ibinabalik sa gobyerno sa pamamagitan ng dividends ay may katumbas na silid-aralan, kalsada, gamot, pagkain, seguridad at pag-asa sa bawat Pilipino. At nagpapasalamat po kami sa inyong lahat for always striving to go over and beyond compliance. When we set a higher bar for dividend remittances, you have not only responded, but many of you have even exceeded expectations. And you did so not merely because the law required you to, but because you remain true to the very reason you exist, to serve the Filipino people. As of September 12, dividend collections already reached 109 billion pesos. And by the end of the year, this figure is expected to increase to about 117 billion pesos. Because of your cooperation, the government continues to improve public services without asking ordinary Filipinos to carry the burden of new taxes. And we thank the President for his courage in standing firm for transparency, accountability, and good governance. Kami sa DOF, maasahan ninyo ang aming maigpit na pagbabantay sa kaban ng bayan. Every peso will be put to its rightful use, growing the economy and uplifting the lives of our people. And it is incumbent upon every GOCC head to heed the President's directive to uphold integrity at all times and never ever turn a blind eye to corruption. Sa ating mga sariling opisina, ipakita natin ito sa paraan ng ating pamumuno, sa ating mga proseso at sa bawat serbisyong ibinibigay natin sa publiko. Integrity must not just be preached, it must be lived daily. Araw-araw, bawat oras. Lagi nating tatandaan, our GOCCs are not government-owned. You are people-owned. All of us in government are. And so every service, every policy, and every peso must honor them. At kung sa pribadong sektor, ang sukatan ng shareholder value sa GOCCs at sa buong gobyerno, ito ay Filipino value. Ang kapakanan ng bawat Pilipino, ang dapat laging nasa sentro ng lahat ng ating ginagawa. Kaya tulungan ninyo rin po kaming ilapit pa ang mga serbisyong pampubliko sa taong bayan. Many GOCCs already collaborated with the DOF during the launching of the first ever GOCC service caravan to bring our programs directly to our people. Regular na po natin itong gagawin, hindi lang sa Metro Manila, kundi sa mga sulok ng bansa para mas marami pa tayong maabot at mapaglingkuran. At sana, sa mga susunod na caravans, mas marami pang GOCCs ang ating makakasama. So on this GOCC Day, let us renew our covenant to serve the Filipino people with excellence, to be not only earners of revenue, but enablers of growth, guardians of public trust, and builders of a more prosperous Philippines. Sa huli, iisa ang ating mithiin. Isang masigla at mas maunlad na ekonomiya, isang gobyernong tapat, maayos at makatao, at isang mas magandang buhay para sa bawat pamilyang Pilipino. Sama-sama po nating abutin ang mga ito sa bagong Pilipinas. Mabuhay po kayong lahat, mabuhay ang bagong Pilipinas.
Thank you, Secretary Recto. At this point, we shall now proceed with the recognition and awarding of certificates to GOCCs who have remitted dividends to the national government and to the 10 GOCCs who participated in the launching of the GOCC Service Caravan last July 2025. May we request the President to kindly lead awarding. Likewise, we request Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin, Finance Secretary Ralph Recto, and GCG Chairperson Attorney Marius Corpus to assist the President. Let's start off with the billionaire GOCCs. May we call on the Land Bank of the Philippines, with President and Chief Executive Officer Maria Lynette V. Ortiz. Land Bank's total dividend is 33.53 billion pesos. The Land Bank also participated in the GOCC Service Caravan. Thank you, Land Bank. The Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, with Chairperson and Governor Ellie M. Remolona Jr., BSP's actual remittance is 18.91 billion pesos. The BSP also remitted 40 billion in December of 2024. Thank you, BSP, the Philippine Amusement and Gaming Corporation. The Philippine Amusement and Gaming Corporation, with member of the board Gilbert Cesar C. Remulla, PAGCOR's actual remittance is 12.68 billion pesos. Thank you, PAGCOR. The Philippine Deposit Insurance Corporation, with President and Chief Executive Officer Roberto B. Tan. PDIC's actual remittance is 10.13 billion pesos. The PDIC also participated in the GOCC Service Caravan. Thank you, PDIC. The Power Sector Assets and Liabilities Management Corporation, with President and Chief Executive Officer Dennis Edward A. de la Serna. PESALM Corporation's actual remittance is 8.96 billion pesos. Thank you, PESALM Corporation. The Basis Conversion and Development Authority, with President and Chief Executive Officer Joshua M. Bingkang. BCDA's total remittance is 5.33 billion pesos. The BCDA also participated in the GOCC Service Caravan. Thank you, BCDA. The Philippine Ports Authority, with General Manager J. Daniel R. Santiago. PPA's actual remittance is 5.20 billion pesos. Thank you, PPA. The Manila International Airport Authority, with General Manager Eric Jose C. Ines. MIAA's actual remittance is 3.32 billion pesos. Thank you, MIAA. The Clark Development Corporation, with President and Chief Executive Officer Agnes Vicenta Salayo Torres de Venadera. CDC's actual remittance is 2.49 billion pesos. Thank you, CDC. The Philippine National Oil Company, with Senior Vice President Maria Rowena C. Raimundo. PNOC's actual remittance is 2.43 billion pesos. Thank you, PNOC. The Philippine Charity Sweepstakes Office, with General Manager and Vice President Melquiades A. Robles. PCSO's actual remittance is 1.77 billion pesos. Thank you, PCSO. The Subic Bay Metropolitan Authority, with Chairman and Administrator Eduardo Jose L. Alinio. SBMA's actual remittance is 1.47 billion pesos. Thank you, SBMA. The Maharlika Investment Corporation, with Chief of Legal Services Group Paul T. Salanga. MIC's actual remittance is 1.45 billion pesos. Thank you, MIC. The Philippine Economic Zone Authority, with Director General Tereso O. Panga. PESA's actual remittance is 1.39 billion pesos. Thank you, PESA. The Philippine Guarantee Corporation with President and Chief Executive Officer Alberto E. Pascual. Phil Guarantee's actual remittance is 1.28 billion pesos. Thank you, Phil Guarantee. Those are the 15 GOCCs that remitted 1 billion and above. Up next, the Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines with Director General Raul L. Del Rosario. CAAP's actual remittance is 971.17 million pesos. Thank you, CAAP. The Metropolitan Waterworks and Sewerage System with Chairman Elpidio J. Vega. MWSS's total dividend is 619.40 million pesos. Thank you, MWSS. The Philippine Reclamation Authority with General Manager and Chief Executive Officer Cesar S. Ciador Jr. PRA's actual remittance is 502.61 million pesos. Thank you, PRA. The Cebu Port Authority with General Manager and Chief Executive Officer Francisco C. Comendador III. CPA's actual remittance is 500 million pesos. Thank you, CPA. The National Development Company with Assistant General Manager Roel Z. Mabaza. NDC's actual remittance is 429.15 million pesos. The NDC also participated in the GOCC Service Caravan. Thank you, NDC. The FIVIDEC Industrial Authority with Administrator and Chief Executive Officer Joseph Donato J. Bernedo. PIA's actual remittance is 385.41 million pesos. Thank you, PIA. The National Home Mortgage Finance Corporation with President Renato L. Tobias, NHMFC's actual remittance is 377.60 million pesos. Thank you, NHMFC. The PNOC Exploration Corporation with President and Chief Executive Officer Adrian S. Sugay. PNOC-EC's actual remittance is 347.02 million pesos. Thank you, PNOC-EC. The Philippine Crop Insurance Corporation with President Jovi C. Bernabe. PCIC's actual remittance is 312.40 million pesos. Thank you, PCIC. The Philippine Retirement Authority with General Manager and Chief Executive Officer Roberto Z. Zozobrado. PRA's actual remittance is 294.96 million pesos. Thank you, PRA. The Clark International Airport Corporation with President and Chief Executive Officer Joseph P. Alcazar. CIAC's actual remittance is 282.72 million pesos. Thank you, CIAC. The LBP Insurance Brokerage Incorporated with Chairman Tomas T. De Leon, Jr. LIBI's actual remittance is 150.84 million pesos. Thank you, LIBI. The Laguna Lake Development Authority with Acting General Manager Leopoldo V. Parumog, LLDA's actual remittance is 130.08 million pesos. Thank you, LLDA. The Authority of the Freeport Area of Bataan, with Administrator and Chief Executive Officer Mohamed Hussein P. Pangandaman. AFAB's actual remittance is 130 million pesos. Thank you, AFAB. The Sugar Regulatory Administration, with Administrator and Chief Executive Officer Pablo Luis S. Azcona, SRA's actual remittance is 126.87 million pesos. Thank you, SRA. The Mactan Cebu International Airport Authority, with General Manager and Chief Executive Officer Julius G. Neri Jr., MCIAA's actual remittance is 114.94 million pesos. Thank you, MCIAA. The DBP Leasing Corporation, with President and Chief Executive Officer Andrew C. Kong. DBPLC's actual remittance is 110.95 million pesos. Thank you, DBPLC. The Food Terminal Incorporated, with Vice President Mark Wayne E. Eubank. FTI's actual remittance is 107.97 million pesos. Thank you, FTI. The APO Production Unit Incorporated, with Executive Vice President and General Manager Liev Raoni Alimangohan. APO PUI's actual remittance is 101.28 million pesos. Thank you, APO PUI. The Philippine Fisheries Development Authority, with Acting General Manager Glenn A. Pangapalan. PFDA's actual remittance is 93.84 million pesos. Thank you, PFDA. The Social Housing Finance Corporation, with President and Chief Executive Officer Federico A. Lacsa. SHFC's actual remittance is 88.61 million pesos. Thank you, SHFC. The LBP Leasing and Finance Corporation, with Chairman Roberto U. Teo, LLFC's actual remittance is 87.93 million pesos. Thank you, LLFC. The National Electrification Administration, with Administrator Antonio Mariano C. Almeda. NEA's actual remittance is 51.66 million pesos. Thank you, NEA. The Small Business Corporation, with President and Chief Executive Officer Robert C. Bastillo. SBC's actual remittance is 40.66 million. The SBC also participated in the GOCC Service Caravan. Thank you, SBC. The LBP Resources and Development Corporation, with Chairman Antonio Ramon A. Lim. LBP RDC's actual remittance is 22.90 million pesos. Thank you, LBRDC. The John Hay Management Corporation, with President and Chief Executive Officer Manjit T. Singh Riandi. GHMC's actual remittance is 14.33 million pesos. Thank you, JHMC. The PowerPoint Management Corporation with President and Chief Executive Officer Felix S. Racadio, PPMC's actual remittance is 11.06 million pesos. Thank you, PPMC. The Tourism Promotions Board with Chief Operating Officer Maria Margarita M. Nograles, TPB's actual remittance is 10.51 million pesos. Thank you, TPB. The Kamayan Realty Corporation and NDC Philippine Infrastructure Corporation with Chairman Maria Lourdes Rebueno. KRC's actual remittance is 3.41 million pesos and NPIC's actual remittance is 1.05 million pesos. Thank you, KRC and NPIC. The Batangas Land Company Incorporated and Alabang Santo Tomas Development Incorporated with President Lilia L. Arce. BLCI's actual remittance is 3.34 million pesos and ASDI's remittance is 2.16 million pesos. Thank you, BLCI and ASDI. The Philippine Mining Development Corporation with Vice President for Operations Marites M. Rio Tutar. PMDC's actual remittance is 1.77 million pesos. Thank you, PMDC. The Development Bank of the Philippines with President and Chief Executive Officer Michael O. De Jesus. DBP participated in the GOCC Service Caravan. Thank you, DBP. The Government Service Insurance System with Officer in Charge Juliet M. Bautista. GSIS participated in the GOCC Service Caravan. Thank you, GSIS. The Home Development Mutual Fund with President and Chief Executive Officer Marilyn C. Acosta. Pag-ibig participated in the GOCC Service Caravan. Thank you, Pag-ibig. The Philippine Health Insurance Corporation with President and Chief Executive Officer Edwin M. Mercado. PHIC participated in the GOCC Service Caravan. Thank you, PHIC. The Social Security System with President and Chief Executive Officer Robert Joseph M. Declaro. SSS participated in the GOCC Service Caravan. Thank you, SSS. Thank you, Mr. President, and congratulations to all our GOCCs. At this point, may we now call once again Finance Secretary Ralph G. Recto to introduce our keynote speaker.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the Republic of the Philippines, His Excellency Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Thank you. Thank you very much to the Finance Secretary, Secretary Ralph Recto. Please take your seat. Executive Secretary, Chief Lucas Bersamin, the other members of the Cabinet who are here, the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas Governor, Governor Eli Remolona, the Governance Commission for Government-Owned and Controlled Corporations, Chairperson Marius Corpus, and the other officials of the GCG, my fellow workers in government, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. As we celebrate this year's Government-Owned or Controlled Corporations, or GOCC Day, we recognize the indispensable role that our GOCCs play in our nation's progress. For decades now, our GOCCs have been instruments of growth, equity, and empowerment. And through their contributions, we have built infrastructure, expanded services, invested in communities, especially those that have long been marginalized. The story of GOCC stretches back to the 19th century. In the aftermath of war, we turned to these institutions to advance national welfare and defense. The National Development Company spearheaded industrial and commercial ventures, while the National Rice and Corn Corporation sought to stabilize food supply and prices. Even then, our leaders understood the value of intervention in critical industries to promote growth and to safeguard stability. Over time, these institutions faced serious challenges: inefficiency, lack of accountability, and financial strain tested their credibility. But our GOCCs did not fold under pressure. Instead, the GOCCs persevered, treating every difficulty as a chance to reform, to rebuild, and to restore public trust. The success of our GOCCs today proves that with discipline, with good governance, public institutions should rise better and stronger. And indeed, the results speak for themselves. From 2011 to 2013, the authorized dividend remittance of GOCCs reached an average of 36 billion pesos. This trajectory only grew stronger, surpassing 137 billion pesos in 2024. And as of this month, collections are already standing at over 106 billion pesos. These funds will finance the establishment and renovation of classrooms, of hospitals, and of infrastructure, as well as the implementation of vital social programs. Behind these numbers are changed lives, reignited hopes. They represent children learning in safer schools, patients receiving care in improved facilities, communities shielded from floods and disasters, and families given a fairer chance at a better life. So today, we recognize the institutions that have exemplified the very best of public service. We also underscore the persistent efforts of the 53 GOCCs as well as the 5 GOCCs that participated in the GCG Service Caravan. You have all proven that with integrity and with diligence, we can embody the highest standards of efficiency, transparency, and responsibility. Dahil sa inyong determinasyon at malasakit, mas maraming Pilipino ang ating natutulungan at naaabot ng ating mga serbisyo. And in support of the hard-working men and women who make this possible, I have approved the Compensation and Position Classification System 2. That will increase the salaries of GOCC employees. Well-deserved naman. I have also approved the provision of a tiered medical allowance for GOCC employees, depending on the capacity, of course, of the GOCC. Further, for GOCCs that implemented CPCS-1, the increases will retroact to 1 January 2025 upon receipt of their authority to implement from the GCG. So as we celebrate these milestones, let us also recognize that there is much work still left to be done. My challenge to our GOCCs is to invest in modern technology, simplify our processes, and cut down on red tape so that every Filipino enjoys easy, fair, and dignified access to the services that they deserve. For the rest of the bureaucracy, our job is to ensure that the dividends of our GOCCs will redound to better services. We need to spend these funds with utmost transparency and accountability. Public trust is our most valuable currency. Once lost, rebuilding it becomes far more difficult. These funds should promote genuine reforms that uplift the quality of life, reach the vulnerable, and leave a lasting contribution for the generations to come. Ladies and gentlemen, this celebration not only highlights our sustainable growth and the stories behind it over the years, it also drives us to strengthen our commitment to championing public interest, safeguarding human rights, and empowering all our sectors. Together, let us continue building a GOCC sector that continues to stand as a beacon of integrity, excellence, and service. Let us shape a government that our people can believe in, and a nation that every Filipino, here and abroad, can proudly call their own. Maraming salamat sa serbisyo ninyo. Maraming salamat at mabuhay kayong lahat. Mabuhay ang bagong Pilipinas. Magandang umaga po sa inyo lahat.
Thank you, Mr. President. At this point, we request the President to kindly grant us a photo opportunity. First, may we call on stage the first set of GOCC heads. Second set of GOCC heads, please stand by. Thank you. Please exit to your right. Second set of GOCC heads, you may now proceed on stage. Third set of GOCC heads, please stand by. Thank you. Please exit to your right. Third set of GOCC heads, you may now proceed on stage. Fourth set of GOCC heads and Department of Finance officials, please stand by. Thank you. Please exit to your right. Fourth set of GOCC heads, you may now proceed on stage.
Thank you. Please exit to your right. At this point, may we request the President to kindly grant us a group photo downstage with all of our attendees. Likewise, may we request everyone to please stand gather at the center and join the President in our group photo.
Ready? At the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you, Mr. President, for granting us a photo opportunity. That concludes our program. Thank you, Mr. President, for gracing the 2025 GOCC.